everybody. Great to have you along. Thanks for stopping by for yet another edition of Conversations of Connection, Mental Wellness in Sports and Life. My name is Scott Murray.
Hello, and I'm Dr.NinaRiosDoria.
Great to have you along, my friend.
Yes.
You have a good year so far?
Yes, it's gone by pretty fast.
Couple of months behind us
as
we
already
continue
March.
on. Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think we've got some nice weather upcoming here in the great state of Texas. I think the
thank
winter
goodness.
is behind us.
I think so.
Wouldn't that be wonderful, huh?
Yes, I'm ready for the warm weather.
Well, we're about to introduce to you, as you well know, someone that has not only been here in the great state of Texas for about 3 decades, but prior to that was from the country of Egypt.
I know.
Yeah, and he has an incredible story to share with us all. So we're most excited about that. His name is Ahmed. I want to make sure I say this right. Ahmed Zaher, and he's a special. I tell you what, we'll say hello to him, and then you can read his bio.
I would love that.
Hello down there, my
Yes,
friend. How are you?
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Did
It's
we
an
get the name
honor.
right?
Thank you. Yes, you did very good.
Very
I
good,
bet you
very
said
good.
a little better than us.
We
but-
were in Cairo last Thursday, so that's how we learned the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Delighted to have you
Yeah.
here.
Well,
Thanks
thank
so
you
much.
for having me. I appreciate that.
We are so excited, and so I'm going to share with everybody a little bit about him. There's quite a bit, actually. You're obviously you care so much about healthy living and training. That's very important to you. He's an exceptional triathlete. He's done Ironman. He's done Kona Ironman 70.3 World Championship qualifier and finisher, and a bronze medalist for the ITU Olympic Distance Age Group World Championships. He's trained thousands of triathletes and had prepared them for Ironman Kona and also 70.3 World Championships and more. And he's been racing and coaching for 22 years, which is a really long time. And now you just do a lot of coaching. You opened up your store Play Try, and not one back in 2010, but you've opened several, and you're going to share with us the story of that and how.
Well,
how he
you've
did
given
that.
so much information about him. I think we're going to have to call it a day. Thanks very much, everybody. Till next time.
There's a lot. So
That
anyway,
is a great bio.
Well, thank
He's
you.
done
Thank
a
you very
lot.
much.
You go to Wikipedia, and it's about 4 pages, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're
So-
delighted to welcome you, both
Yeah.
Dr. Nina and I. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
We got it right, about 3 decades. Is that right, that you've been
Yes,
here in
I've
the
been
States?
here 31 years now.
So why did you come?
Moved here with my ex-wife and had 3 beautiful boys, and then it didn't work out. So, liked staying here, and I love Dallas and Texas in general.
So Nina gave a great bio as to who you are and what you're all about. But if you were to describe in 10 or 15 seconds what you do day to day, how would you describe it?
So I think the best way is to kind of describe Play Try, because it's really my life, more or less. And in Play Try, what we do is we have a coaching company and performance testing. So we coach people whether you want to lose weight or finish your first 5K. We do specialize a little bit more in triathlon, just because I'm a triathlete.
Right.
So we coach people for sprint, Olympic distance, Ironmans. But we're kind of more of, I like to think of ourselves as a health coach company where we kind of guide you to be healthy, because we have some tennis players and some, basketball players and different other
So
sports.
anybody that wants to take it to the next level could literally walk in off the
Yes.
street and be a part of Play Try.
They can be part of Play Try. We have something specifically just for them, and any kind of sport, really, more or less.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, before we get to the
Yeah.
first question from Nina, let me ask you this. Somebody wants to be involved with what you're sharing with us today.
Yeah.
Where do they go? Website? What do we do?
Playtry.com would be the best way.
PLAYTRI.
Yes, .com would be. It has a lot of resources over there, and you can always email me at ahmed@playtry.com.
Oh, he's given his personal email
Yes.
too. Oh, you're going to get a lot of emails now.
that's fine.
Well, yeah,
Well, most of the people are not going to know how to spell Ahmed.
Yeah.
you've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
And initially you didn't start out. I'm sure earlier on you weren't thinking, I'm going to own a Play Try store. I'm going to be doing coaching. Tell everyone a little bit about where you made this transition into this sport
Yeah.
and now being so successful. Where did that begin and what motivated you to get into it?
So the story started when I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work a lot. It's just part of my nature. I like working. And I was kind of didn't pay attention to my health as much when I was working as an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing with my 2-year-old. He's 30 now, but I was playing with him, and I couldn't, after 5 minutes, I was just tired. So
Yeah.
I was like, I always live for my kids. I always say everything I do is more or less for my kids. So I decided to start getting healthy. I went to the gym. I went to, all kinds of activities, but nothing kind of, nothing kept me consistent in there. So the story really started like that, of me finding out what I want to do, until I really fell in love with triathlon. And I went to watch a triathlon, fell in love with it, so I started doing it, and I found it to be, it's a lifestyle more, and it got me hooked, as we call it. And once you're hooked, it was great. Once I got hooked, it's kind of, I wanted to share that with my friends. So that's really how Play Try started. It was really, I found a jewel, as they call it, and I just wanted to share it with everybody else. So we started, I kind of left the engineering part and decided to start, working more as a personal trainer, which was another passion, And I found that my clients would easily come and do weights for an hour, but they hated cardio. 5 minutes on the treadmill was a struggle. It was a fight with them in order to do it. So I challenged them to do a sprint triathlon. That was 20 plus years ago. And somehow I got, 20, 30 of them, hooked to do it. Some of them didn't even know how to swim. Almost all of them didn't know how, didn't have a bike.
Yeah.
We managed to figure out how to do all that. And one of probably my most proud things is I ended up getting all 30 of them to finish a triathlon, 3-4 months later. And one of the best stories I can always tell you, that all 30 of them at one point or another did an Ironman, years later on. So,
wow.
Okay, so what age, when you talk about these people here, you're talking about 30 people here.
Yeah.
I just wondered the age group, the nationalities of those people, male, female, and so basically, who are you talking about that you deal with on a day-to-day basis? If
I'm talking about that group in general, they were like 25 years old to 50 plus years old.
Is that what it is today too?
And
same thing?
Today today probably I would say 6 years old to 70 years old. So
Really?
And more and older. Like there are.
It's so great that you said that just now, because I think there are people listening that are like, I can't do a triathlon. I'm this age, or I'm too young or too old. But really, it's any age. You can start at any age and get healthy, really. And it's about getting healthy for you.
Exactly. And I think what happened is I actually went to watch a triathlon. And in my head, when some of my friends were like, oh, come and watch us, I was like, I can't do that. Try swim, then bike, then run. I mean, I was always active and I was always, healthy. But I just, the whole idea of me swimming and biking and running all in one day, and we were talking about even a sprint is still a long, long way. And then when I went to watch, there were old people, young people, big people, small people, tall, short. I mean, there were all kinds of, and I basically looked, I was like, if this guy can do it, why can't I do it? And
you talk about your kids.
Yeah.
How old are they now? Male, female? What?
I got all boys.
All boys.
Got 3 from my ex-wife, 2 from my, Stacy, my wife.
All
now.
5 then?
All 5 of them
are involved?
They're at one point or another. My goal with Play Try is not really to get people to have to do triathlon. It's really, as I said, we think of it as a health company. They're all at one point or another did a triathlon. I have my 10-year-old, I think he did like 5 or 6 of them already. So they're all, thank God, are healthy, I would say. And that's kind of the more important thing. Some of them play basketball, some of them play water polo. So,
when you were sharing how when you first got into triathlons, you watched people and you're like, if they can do that, I can do that. What else helped you as far as that mental piece for you? And you've been doing this for so long to sustain such a strong mental mindset. Can you share with everybody what you do to sustain that?
So one of the things, I can tell you kind of one of the things that I love the most about triathlon in general is the mental part that you have to get organized time-wise, in order to be able to accomplish whatever. Now, this is what I'm saying is not abnormal. You have to be organized time-wise. I mean, I can say that to anybody, regardless of what job you do or what sport you do. But triathlon kind of helps you more because it's a 3-sport. And so it helps you do that. One of the things, one time I had a client of mine that was 300 pounds at one point. He came to me, said, hey, I just want to lose, some weight. We ended up coming down to 220 pounds. He ended up eventually finishing an Ironman, in July.
Wow.
And he stayed with me for 3-4 years, and we accomplished a lot. We rode a century. We ran a marathon.
Is that here in Texas?
Yes, here in Texas. And one of the things that I make my clients do is when we send the workouts, or that they would plug the workouts into their calendar. So when it's as if it's an appointment with themselves.
That's good.
So that's one of the tricks that I always use with myself, and the tricks that I use with my clients. And I make them put it. So at 12 o'clock, they're going to go swim. That's an appointment they have with themselves. So if somebody calls them and say, can you meet at 12 o'clock? They don't have to lie. They can just say, I have an appointment. I can meet you. So, but one of the things that was really cool for me is I meet with them once every 3 months or 6 months or 1 year to kind of go over goals and commitment, what we're doing right and how can we improve. And he said, you know what, the most thing I've learned from you. And I thought, this is a guy, I helped him with nutrition. I helped him lose weight. I helped him get the Ironman. So I thought it was going to be one of these.
Right.
And he was time management was the best thing I learned from you. He goes, I actually applied your techniques because I make them fill up a sheet that says goals and commitment, like what are your goals and what are your commitments. We do that at the beginning of the year. So he did that with his employees. And then he made them put on the calendar, their goals and their commitment, whatever it is in their business. It was finance at the time. I don't know financing, but whatever. He converted the way we do it to that. So it was really kind of eye-opener to me that what we do with the clients, it's not just the physical, but the mental, the organization, the time management and all that. But time management is the most important thing, I think, for anything.
Do you get into diet or anything? You talk about the fellow that walked in 300 pounds and you got down to 220. But he, I'm sure, didn't do that just through as much as physical exercise as numero uno.
Yeah. So in my opinion, in general, in order, to be a coach, a good coach, you have to know about, 5 things in general, which is, mental, coaching, nutrition, the physical, obviously, the gear, the right gear is very important, and communication. While we don't specialize in nutrition or mental health, we have some, so we can give them guidelines. If they are struggling, that's, for at a certain point, we recommend, a nutritionist or a mental doctor, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, you just mentioned 5 things. It made me think, the minute you said 5 things like that, it made me think of my keynote presentation for Leadership America. It's creating champions of change through a culture of civility. So we're out. 5 words that start with C: courage, commitment, character, compassion, not confrontation, but conversation.
Yeah.
Those are the things you have to work on when somebody says, is that all about? So my question to you, on behalf of Nina and I, if you want to tell us what to do the minute we leave here today to be a part of what you're thinking, just the mindset, what are 5 things that come to mind that you would tell me or tell Nina, this is what you've got to do going home? I mentioned diet a minute ago. You talk about exercise. What are 5 things that you want to be a part of this program? You want to be involved with Play Try? This is what you've got to do. Not just exercise. Be specific. What are the 5 things I have to do?
So one of the things that you have to do is you have to put health as a priority. That's number 1. If I hear that all the time. I don't have time. I don't think it's you don't have time. I think you just don't think it's a priority. People always make time, as we call it, if it's a priority. Does that make sense? Number 2 is, I would say, finding a coach is very important. So I do talks and I go around and I tell people, as human beings, we are not made, or at least whether it's culture, we can't reach our potential without a coach. So when you were first born, your mother was your first coach. She told you when to eat and so on. If you're lucky to have a dad, your dad told you, don't do this, don't do that. If you're lucky to go to school, your teacher was your third coach. Your principal was your 4th coach. But even today, if you want to fix your car, you go to your mechanic coach. He tells you what to do. If you want to build a house, any of us can build a house, but we do go to our contractor coach and so on. So as human beings, we are, we can't maximize our abilities or our money or our time without a coach. And I don't know why when it comes to health, people think they can't. If you're sick, you go to your doctor, coach, and so on. So one of the second thing that I would strongly recommend is obviously hiring a coach. Now, the third thing is one of the things that PlayTry do is we do, the coaching, or we started with the coaching, and then we also do events. So we put on run races, triathlon races. So we have that. And then the third thing is we have bike shops, which we, have, swim gear, bike gear, gear, run gear, bikes, stuff like that. And we extended that even to a franchise where we also franchise. So the third thing is probably one of the most common mistakes we do is we see people buying the wrong gear in general, or the wrong, for whatever, whatever sports. Again, when it comes to the bike, for example, in our case, we did a trade-in program for kids. Now we do it for adults as well. But we found that the parents buy too big of a bike for the kid at the beginning, and then they keep it until it's too small. And I understand, obviously, we all want to save, and we I'm not saying it's, but we decided, hey, just buy the right bike, we'll trade it in, and to where really you're not missing on a lot of money. Because we found that the kids didn't like biking, not because they didn't like biking, it's just they were on the wrong bike.
Right.
If I'm constantly on the wrong equipment, if I'm in the wrong shoes, we found a lot of people are in the wrong shoes, so they hate running. A lot of people don't know how to swim, and they struggle. We have coaches that can teach swimming very fast, make you more efficient. So the more efficient you are, the more that you're on the right track equipment wise, then it's easier for you to kind of be good at it. So the third thing I would say is obviously that the right equipment is very important. When it comes to the fourth thing is understanding that I always say consistency is the most important thing. Nothing is happening overnight. You are not going to lose weight overnight. You're not going to get fit overnight, and you are not going to also be bad, lose your fitness overnight. A lot of athletes, they panic if they can't work out for a day or two or a week or two. Nothing is done overnight. And then the the fifth thing I would probably say, expect that something will go wrong. If you know something will go wrong, you'll be prepared for it.
Okay.
One of the things.
Let me jump in one more just before you get to that,
please.
because you never said anything about food. I know guys that are in shape, but they'll eat themselves till they're sick, and so you don't talk about food at all?
Well, that's part of the coaching part.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the coaching. Like
Okay.
the coach himself, like I said, the coaching part will cover the mental, the nutritional, in general. But yes,
Good.
nutrition is
Go ahead.
most
I
important.
want to get back to the mental
Yeah.
part, because I think that for you,
Sounds like a psychologist, don't you?
well, it's important because I think that it's you do it so well and you're so gifted at it.
Thank
and
you.
So I really would love for people to hear more about that part. You do triathlons, but you've won a lot of championships.
Yeah.
And Kona is a very, it's a specialty race. It's not everyone can do it, but you were able to do it and do really well at it. Yeah. So I know you've talked about commitment, consistency, accountability, which I value, and health. But what other things are you doing that really push you to be so successful at the races you've done?
So I think one of the races that can maybe explain that a little bit is I was unfortunate to get hit by a truck in 2008. And
when you were cycling?
When I was cycling, and broke my collarbone, ribs. I still have a plate over here with screws. And it was very hard on me mentally and physically because I'm a very active person.
Yeah.
I'm always doing something.
No, 30 years in the news business, got to be more specific. You and a truck came together. What happened? Tell.
Well, I was biking, and basically a truck came behind me and just...
So he hit you from
he
behind.
Hit me from behind, and it threw me like 30, 40 feet.
And you hit the ground.
Hit the ground hard, broke the helmet, broke my collarbone, crushed my collarbone, broke 4 or 5 ribs.
Wow.
Had a rib punctured lung,
Yeah.
It was a big ordeal, few surgeries.
All right, I just want you to be specific. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. Go ahead and continue on.
And going through the process, it was day by day. It was very hard. Everybody thought I'm done. There's no way I'm gonna race again. If I even race again, it will never be on the same competitive. And I remember sitting in the hospital going, which Kona am I going to do this year or next year? Which one I'm going to be ready for? It wasn't, my mindset wasn't if, it was when. And when you start thinking like that, you start going with the how I'm going to get there.
That's
One of the
good.
things that I've always told myself, and I tell people, is 80% of the solution of a problem is knowing what the problem is. So if you know what the problem is, 80% of the solution you already know. The rest becomes just finding the way to get there.
Yeah.
But so anyhow, it was a day by day, and I remember going, improving, obviously physical therapy and all the stuff. And the accident happened in January, and I was able to start racing in June. And I went to do a
Amazing.
70.3 in June, even though all the doctors said it would be at least a year before I start racing again. And when I went to race in June, I wasn't even, I was just going to finish, because one of the things that I think about training is the journey. You'll hear that people saying all the time, it's the journey that matters the most. Getting to the starting line is what matters the most. So I got to the starting line, and it was Eagleman 70.3 in Maryland, Eagleman. And I still didn't have full function of my left hand, my left arm in general, so I couldn't. So I swam with one arm.
How do you do that? How do you swim 2 miles with one arm? I can't even.
Very
I can
carefully.
barely
Very efficiently. Very efficiently.
carefully.
the 1 mile with both arms.
Very efficiently,
Okay.
yeah. And then I biked with one arm, and then more or less ran with one arm. And I remember at mile 3, I saw one of the professionals coming, and I thought I was hurting, like I was like really, I'm like, oh, I'm in so much pain. And that guy was like hurting really bad. Like he wasn't injured or anything, but he was like pushing himself.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I'm not pushing myself that much, and I just kind of took it up a notch. Make a long story short, I was able to qualify, win the race, qualify for Hawaii, go to Kona in the same year in October, same thing, did the race with one arm, in Kona, and I was able to finish in 10 hours, something
That's
like that.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the part of, how do we get there? It was me trying to get to the starting line. I didn't even know if I'm going to finish. So, my mental state of mind was, how do I get to the starting line? And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to get to the swim. And then if I'm tired, I'm going to stop. And then, okay, I'm going to go through the first 10 miles. And then I got on the run and became 1 mile. So if you think of an Ironman as like a whole day, it's probably very hard on you mentally. But if you think about it as one part, broken into pieces, it's a lot easier,
Yeah, I think that's true of just about anything we do in this
and
world.
that is true, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the Ironman and triathlon. It's kind of a lifestyle that can be easily converted to life,
Absolutely.
in general.
You seem like you have this just very optimistic attitude. Like it's not if, it's when, it's how.
Yes.
Where does that come from? Where did you learn optimism?
See, and I'll add to what she just said. That's why I think when you got hit by a truck, you didn't say, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Because your mentality was always one of, it's all right.
I
It
can
was a
do
problem.
this.
I can do
How
this.
what's next?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I think my parents probably, I mean, my wife asks me that all the time because she always says I'm too optimistic, whatever. I always see everything great. If bad things happen, I always come and say, but this thing happened, which is a good thing. So, but I think I think it originates from my parents. I think they always taught us that the world is still always good, and there is always if there's a will, there's a way, as we call it here in the States.
In my keynote, one of the things that I talk about is overcoming things like this.
Yeah.
And I use the phrase, adversity breeds opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done.
Yeah.
You've taken adversity, getting hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. My opportunity is to make it better and become even better than I was before the truck accident. Yes?
is.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said your parents were a lot like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was always an
Positive.
optimistic, we just lived, I mean, we were brought up that, bad things happen, but good things happen as well.
Right.
So, learn
If
from
you
the,
look at it positively and productively,
Yeah.
you're going to move forward.
exactly, learn from the
Yeah.
bad, move on to the
Absolutely.
good. I mean, I remember one time I was talking to somebody and I said this, the Hawaii Ironman that I've done 8 times the Hawaii Ironman. So, and I qualified like 13 times. And I
That's
think,
amazing. That's incredible.
yeah, I think the one, if you ask me which one is the sweetest, I would say is the one that I had swam with one arm. It was one probably of my slowest Ironmans. It was not my fastest, but it was the sweetest. And because there was a lot of struggle to get to the starting line, there was a lot of struggle to get there. That when I crossed the finish line, I was the happiest. I was the most.
So it was the most
peaceful.
rewarding of
It
all
was
of
the
them.
most rewarding. So sometimes the most rewarding is not necessarily
The best.
the best or the easy path. Sometimes the hard path is the worst. But I also learned a lot about myself in that journey of training. As you know, to train for Ironman, I learned about myself, about what I can do and what I can't do, and how you can overcome a lot of adversity. Because as a coach, businessman, family man, you kind of have to kind of manage your time
Yeah.
between all three to try to be decent at all three. So it probably taught me a lot.
What
We've
was
got
it-
time for just a couple more
I
questions.
was
So
gonna say,
why don't
what
you go
was-
ahead?
What was the biggest life lesson from that experience? You said I learned a lot from when I was doing this race with one arm.
Yeah.
What was the biggest life lesson for you that you take now with you and all that you do?
So, to say that, I've always said, mental health, as me and you talk about it, is one of the most important thing. And when I think when I was able to overcome mentally, sitting in the emergency room and then in the in the hospital and staying there for weeks.
And how old again were you?
I was at the time 44.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you got hit by the truck.
By the truck.
44.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you overcome all that stuff mentally, and then you go to your regular life, which none of us have it
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't care who you are. People think, oh, this guy has it. Nobody has it easy. I think a lot of the times when I struggle in life or in business, I always think, man, I did that.
I did that race.
I overcome. I'm not kidding. I was like,
Yeah.
I overcome
She's
that.
identifying with this.
Yeah.
I can tell
I was
already.
like, yeah.
I was in the emergency room for days. 4 or 5 surgeries, blah, blah, blah. So I think when I say that I learned of how much pain I can take and still get up, like how
Endure.
much I can be down. Because I don't know how much down I was at that time. So you learn, hey, if I just have to pull myself. Now, support system is very important. And,
Right.
you're finding that, having my wife, my kids. I mean, I can't say that I did that on my own. That would be a lie. Your friends, your
Good team.
good team.
Yeah.
I'm not the
Yeah.
only one. But also, I think choosing who to be around is very important.
Yes.
My dad always said, choose whom you want to be, you like, and just hang around them, and you're
So
going to be
true.
like that.
Yeah.
Anything? Okay. Last question from the two of us.
Yes.
You have already, and I didn't ask you how old you are, but you have already done some incredible things in your life.
Thank you.
If today was to be the last day, people would say, yeah, Ahmed, he really got it together, and look at the things that he did and the company that was created and all that he just moved forward with in making a difference in the lives of those that would really like to make a difference in their own life. That said and done, for Nina and I right now, we've had an opportunity to spend some time, learn about you, who you are, what you're all about. So if today was your last day here on Earth, what would you like people to look upon you and what your legacy was in your life? What do you want us to remember your legacy as?
I like, other than being a good or the best father I can be, other than that, really my goal is people to say or think that I had this so little, but a small part of them of making health a priority for their lives. And that's really have been my goal for the last, 22 years is making people just think about health and how important it is. I think the pandemic taught us that health is important,
Yeah.
in general. and that would be my legacy. And I don't want to even say Ahmed, because I would like to say Play-Try had something to do with their health, because we have a unbelievable team of coaches and employees that really make everything happen every day.
Fantastic. Have you had fun today?
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot more
That
fun.
went by quick.
That was a lot of
There's
fun.
a lot more you could share with us. We really appreciate having you here.
Thank you guys
Yes.
for, thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
really an honor.
Yeah.
It
Well, we're
really
glad
is.
you're here.
I
You
appreciate that.
obviously inspired many people.
Well, I hope
and-
so. I hope so. Well,
I got inspired. How about you?
Yes, absolutely. And you know, one
We'll
of the
be
things-
running in the triathlete.
that,
or
that, you
triathlon.
just
I
called
mean.
me.
I told them I'm going to
I'll-
do another
you
race. I
called
do
me.
triathlons.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
You
So,
just called me.
I'm
I know.
grateful that
I know somebody can help you.
Yeah, we're going to get Scott started. It's
That's
never
awesome.
too late, Scott.
You what?
Next time you're going to tell us that everyone you're training, you're getting coached to.
Oh no,
triathlon.
my biggest I do work out. I take good care of myself.
you look
I was,
great.
I was a 32-inch waist when I graduated from college. I'm still a 32-inch
Wow.
Oh, well,
waist.
bravo.
Yeah,
That's what I tell
haven't
people
gone up
all
and
the
down.
time. There is no
39,
excuses.
39 reg jack. I haven't changed at all.
Awesome. That is
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
the same thing I was when I graduated from college.
That's awesome.
That is
Good for
awesome.
you, Scott.
I love that.
Yeah. So well, we have enjoyed this
Yeah.
immensely.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of
Grateful.
my sidekick here, the triathlete, I really this has been great. So
it's
a giant thank you. And
my
again, give us the
pleasure.
website one more time.
playtry.com.
Playtry, PLAYTRI
.com.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. Ahmed
Ahmed
Zaher.
Zaher.
That's
And,
right.
we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Scott.
Continued
Thank you,
success.
Nina.
Stay well, my friend.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
And to all of you, stay well as well. And of course, this is another edition of
Conversations of Connection,
You got
Mental
it.
Wellness, and Sports and Life.
Sports and Life. That's it. So until next time, I'm Scott Murray.
And I'm Dr. Nina Rios-Doria.
So long, everybody.